time to fix you. What's up, everybody? So today is the day I'm finally gonna jump back on the drag week car, kill face. I'm trying to figure out what is going on with this thing. You know, back in October, we figured out that the motor was hurt a little bit worse than just the cylinder heads. I think something is hurt at the bottom end of it. I was kind of discouraged. It was the end of the season. I had zero obligations with the car, so I went ahead and parked it. I just put it on the back burner, and I have literally not touched a thing on this car, and I've exhausted zero effort to figure out what is wrong with it. Well, I've been inspired. Beautiful weather outside, you know what I mean? And I want to get out there and enjoy the car a lot this year. I want to do a little bit like of the more low stress events. So I want to be proactive and try and get on top of this now and figure out, is it going to be an easy fix? And if it's not, like how much is it going to cost me and how deep are we going to be into this thing? So we're going to hook the EKG machine up to it, if you will. We're going to run a compression test on it and figure out what hole is hurt and which part of that cylinder is causing the ailment, if you will. So here we go. So I want you guys to hear what I hear when I try and start this thing. I got the fuel pump unhooked completely. I got the ignition harnesses. Yeah, the harnesses, like all that is unhooked. So there will be no fuel, no fire, no nothing. But you can hear as this thing rotates over, you'll hear a dead hole. So listen to this. So you can hear that rhythm. It's definitely not happy. Now, we gotta figure out which one it is. So on this side, it was cylinder 4 right here that torched out on drag week. So this is what I'm suspecting. I'm gonna start with this one. We're gonna pull all the plugs out. Now, usually if you're gonna do a compression test or whatever, like the right way to do it is to get the engine up to operating temperature or close to it, warm it up a little bit. We're not gonna do that. You can hear it's down a hole. I don't need this thing warmed up to figure out that I'm losing compression somewhere. If the numbers look like comparably good to the other holes, then we'll put a leak down on it and we'll see whether it's the valves, possibly, I doubt it, or if it's the rings, which is what I'm suspecting. So here we go. Oh my God. That saber-tooth claw. Instructions. Right. It's a tight squeeze.
Y'all watch the gauge and tell me what it pumps up to. I can't. Oh God. Hopefully it holds.
Contact. God dang it. Contact.
So 150. I'm gonna move it over a hole and we'll check the next one too. Okay, this is the cylinder right in front of that. This is number 1.
Looking for 150.
Here we go.
All right, yeah, 150.
Should we check one more or should we just go for it? Let's just go for it and see what the dead hole says.
I can't see it, so I'm just gonna crank it until I think it's as high as it's gonna get. What do we got? 150? What? What the hell? Okay, so maybe it's not that hole. Well, I guess I'm gonna check all the holes, and if they all pump 150, I guess I'll put the leak down tester on them and see what the leak down is. Interesting. This would be real awkward if this motor's not hurt. That would really suck if I just let this car sit here for like 5 months for no reason whatsoever. Okay. I've been racking my brain, going crazy here. I had to do a complete sanity check. I actually had to go back and watch the drag week video to figure out which hole we torched on this thing, and I couldn't put it together. I thought it was the number 4, but it's the number 6. I went back, reviewed the footage, looked at it again. It is the number 6 right here. And after I checked that whole side and then plus a couple more here, literally the last cylinder for me to check was this one, and this one pumps up to, well, just watch. Yeah, that's not gonna cut it. So clearly that one's got an issue going on with it. I'm gonna pull the compression tester out of there. I'm gonna put the leak down on it and make sure that, confirm my suspicions. I think it is the rings that are collapsed. If it is, that sucks because that's a worst case scenario. We gotta pull the motor out. Hopefully it's just the rings and not like compressed, like melted the piston and pinched the ring lands. That would really suck to have to order pistons. Best case scenario, maybe something got messed up when we fixed the heads, but I highly, highly doubt it. The heads look flawless when we put them back on there. They've been redecked, new valve job, everything's been fixed on those. So yeah, we'll see.
3 weeks later.
Everything happens for a reason in life, right? So the reason this happened, well, the reason my compression testers read 90 psi is because, well, I made a really stupid decision. You know what, you guys we're not gonna relive bad memories all over and over and over again. We're looking for silver linings here, and the silver lining is right there. That, you guys have seen this thing, and I got one. So that means this needs to go. I'm going to pull the intake off and put this stuff up for sale. I'm gonna start figuring out what I'm gonna do about the hole in the hood, which kind of sucks. I'm gonna miss this. Like, I really like that intimidation factor of an engine just going, oh, like that, right through the hood of the car. Like, that's a tough look right there. And it's gonna be kind of a bummer to get rid of that. But it is what it is. So the cold side piping is gonna have to get rearranged. Some of the fuel lines, the valley cover, all that stuff, very simple stuff, not a big deal. But for now, the Super Victor and the elbow, that's gotta go. Fingers are crossed. I am optimistic as that I think that this thing is gonna be okay. And ah, God, hey, dude, that hurt. Hey, Bob's your uncle. Intake is gone. Some stuff's got to get reroutations and implementations and exaggerations. Obviously, some things are going to go changing underneath here. The intake gaskets, those are probably going to get reused. So should really take better care of those. Anyway, coolant crossover or steam vents, the turbo oil feed, the vacuum pump, pickup line is going to get changed because the valley cover is going to become flat because that is a lower profile intake. Obviously the wiring harness is going to change as well, and there might be some bigger changes coming into that. We'll see in the future. However, cold side piping as well is going to have to change, so drastic changes coming in right here. We're going to go ahead and start handling that stuff, moving stuff around now. Anyway, stuff that we're going to reuse here, the Fast 92 throttle body is going to stay. The fuel pressure regulator from Magnum Fuel is going to stay, as well as the 210-pound injectors. But everything else you're looking at here is going to go. The Wilson elbow, the Wilson carb spacer, as well as the Edelbrock Super Victor intake. All that stuff is going to go up for sale, 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 sale. I'm going to use that money to try and offset some of the purchases and the other changes that I want to make for 2019. I'm tired of rolling around on 2 different kinds of shoes. Like, I like the billet specialties. I never really liked them until I was forced into them, and here I am. So I want to match it up, but I don't want to put the 15s on the front. I really like the idea of a 17-inch front runner to show off these big, sexy bare brakes behind here, and a 15-inch wheel just covers them up too much. So I'm gonna try and get a 17x4 in there to help show off the people who support me in this whole endeavor. And that's pretty much it. So the next time you see the car, and next time I do an update on this thing, we're going to be putting on the BTR Equalizer Uno intake and hopefully switching it up a little bit. That's it. I'm out. Peace.